Eleanor Vance had 90 seconds to decide. Stay hidden or risk everything for a stranger's kid. At 80 years old, she had survived the Detroit streets for 5 months by being invisible. But what she did next would trigger the largest iron-bound MC mobilization Michigan had seen in a decade. 10:47 p.m. Gateway Service Plaza. Eleanor had been sleeping behind a dumpster for 3 nights. After 80 years of life, she had ended up with nothing, but she still had her dignity. She lived by the rules. Stay invisible. Survive. Until she heard a fist hit flesh through a gap in the fence. A man in a Detroit PD uniform had a 13-year-old boy pinned against a wall. The cop had his forearm across the kid's throat. Who's going to believe a biker's kid over a decorated officer? I'll tell, the boy choked. The cop's fist hit his ribs. You'll tell nothing. I'll make sure your father goes away for 20 years. And you will end up in the system. You know what happens to kids there? Eleanor knew. Her wrinkled fingers found the disposable camera in her bag. She had 90 seconds. Eleanor raised the camera with shaking hands and pressed the shutter. Flash. The cop's head snapped up. Who's there? Eleanor moved as fast as her aged legs allowed. She hid between 2 trailers, pressing her frail frame against the asphalt. The cop's boots appeared nearby, but a voice called him away for a dispatch call. Eleanor found the boy on the curb. Hey! You okay? No cops, the boy whispered in terror. I saw everything. Eleanor knelt painfully beside him. I took pictures. You saved my life. Can you help me find my father? Silas Cobalt Vane, ironbound MC. Inside the lounge, Silas Cobalt Vane saw his bleeding son and crossed the room in seconds. Toby what? Up in it, Officer Henderson. He's dirty. This lady, she saw it. She has photos. Cobalt looked at Eleanor, seeing her weathered skin and thin frame. You risked your life for my son. Why? Because nobody ever stopped for me, Eleanor said. Her voice steady despite her age. I'm tired of being invisible. Cobalt stood tall. You're under club protection now. My son would be dead if you'd stayed hidden. That means you're ours. Blood debt. 7 days later, the FBI arrested Henderson at the 3rd Precinct. As they let him out in cuffs, 200 bikers stood in silent formation. 80-year-old Eleanor stood between Cobalt and the club president. Her back straight. The cop saw her and snarled. That's her. The old woman. Eleanor didn't flinch. For the first time in 5 months, she was the most visible person in Detroit.